Hey, it's your buddy Peace and Harmony with you here today. We are zooming in and focusing in on a viewer question that we got in, and that is, can someone learn to be covert narcissistic? Can they learn through going to therapy or other sort of interventions? Can they learn to adopt this character disorder? And, when we talk about personal development, people do learn, change, and evolve. And when we talk about character disorders, personality issues with issues of selfishness, issues of people who are bullying, issues where people are, consistently and chronically ignoring others, giving them the silent treatment, always talking about themselves to the negligence of your life, your interests, sort of ostracizing you, alienating you, making you feel uncared for, unimportant, like you don't matter. Now this is, there's healthy narcissism and then there's unhealthy narcissism. And, you can talk about, like in the book Time is Shared in Puzzling People, you can talk about the 12th century Medici or the royal family in Britain, where basically people are bred to feel and become, superior to others. And there is, hierarchy in society where people have more money, more assets, more intelligence. I mean, that's just diversification, and that's just, natural order. And, Darwin theory, survival of the fittest or what have you. But, and then, we adapt and change as we go along. And, there can be, some families and some communities where it's bred into people that they are more important or they have money or this, this and this. And so, there's a lot of debate, of course, but there is a physiology that we see in the psychopathic as well as the narcissistic people. And the DSM has changed regarding this topic. And, I'm not here to diagnose and treat, you or your spouse mental disorders. So, in terms of people learning this through therapy, oftentimes when people are confronted about their issues, they tend to withdraw, they tend to isolate, they tend to shy away from this third-party intervention because it means, that they have, something that they need to attend to, and it's oftentimes very sensitive and of a intrinsic nature, perhaps that they haven't addressed or that they don't know, have sort of the words to put into play or experience or know how to change or feel comfortable changing. So each person has, is a unique situation, a unique case, a unique experience, how they look at the world, how they look at psychology, how they look at that realm. There's a lot of people who, I don't believe in psychology. I just am who I am. I am a dentist. I'm very scientific, very objective, very controlling, very, fact-based. And if I can't see it on paper, or if it doesn't have anything to do with what I can make with my hands or make me money, I don't want to have anything to do with it. So you have a lot of people who don't, really believe in talk therapy or, psychology or things like of this nature. And so it can make people be very withdrawn and just basically want to shut down or feel more self-absorbed. And so not, oftentimes, there's different therapy and sometimes it just is not a very comfortable thing for people. And so if this is the case, everybody has a different response. People have different needs, different approaches. For some people, they can go through the changes that they need through going to the church or to yoga or to a retreat or, a monastery or by traveling. So if therapy is causing your person to become worse, if therapy is causing you or, your spouse or your family member to exasperate their symptoms, in other words, they're becoming more selfish, they're becoming more defined, they're becoming more rigid, then, this is who they are. And, like the old saying, money doesn't make you greedy, money makes you more of who you are. And kind of when you really kind of open up that heart space, people really do begin to show their true colors. So, if they're willing, capable, if they're man enough, woman enough to realize what they're doing in the situation to hurt others and, have an open mind and an open heart enough to understand this and then make adjustments and changes, then the therapy is going to work. Otherwise, it's an exercise in futility, and it's driving them the other direction. They're not becoming softer around the edges. They're not becoming more receptive. They're not becoming more open. They're not becoming more empathetic. It can make them basically just want to give up. This is not me. I don't want to go here. This is a waste of time. And that's their evaluation. And oftentimes, if that's where they're at, then you're not going to be getting the results. So oftentimes there might be another route that they need to go to get their results. So, it really does, have a lot to do with the person's own, perspective on things. So you really have to find out what works for them and, be able to say, okay, this is not working. Let's try something else. It doesn't mean you're a bad person, for bringing them into therapy and this didn't work, so alleviate some of that judgment. We have to try something else and see and really determine if it's worth it for you. And, if you don't succeed, then try again. So it's kind of like that philosophy. And, realize though that, it is very important because the people with character disorders, one of the typical things is that they don't think that they need help. They don't see that they have hurt others. They feel very justified and grandiose in, whatever it is that makes them feel this way, whether, however they were bred, whatever is, inherently working in their neural networks, that, high testosterone, their personality demeanor, that makes them very aggressive and to not be empathetic. There's a lot of neurochemistry that goes along with this high drive, lack of empathy, the testosterone, the dopamine, the serotonin, the adrenaline, and then also, when it gets very pathological, when the people who actually thrive on taking advantage of others. So it becomes very pathological, and very, it can become criminal in intent, like we see in a lot of, things going on. So, very destructive. So, realize what direction this person is headed, take into account their own individual sensitivity, interests, traits, things that, really make them tick and would resonate with them, because it's a very personal, subjective sort of situation. And realize that there's people who get well are people who are humble enough and have the humility enough to realize that they need and want to make a change. So, or someone who is very selfish, haughty, arrogant, prideful, they're going to stick to their guns, that there's nothing wrong with them. And, they're not going to have that humility. They're not going to have that humbleness. They're not going to be down to earth. They're not going to be grounded in that way. They're just going to be, it's all about me and I'm okay with that. So I hope that addresses your question and provides some insight and hopefully maybe some solutions to what you need to do and where you need to go within this relationship. Peace and harmony with you here today. I hope these videos do help. Please share and please subscribe for more great tools, videos, discussion, and support.